of opening.
Resolved, schools should monitor social media outside of school. It's 2 in the morning and a girl logs into her Instagram account. The picture she had posted got more hate than usual. Horrible comments. The temptation of suicide hangs in front of her like a shining penny. Schools should be able to monitor social media. If we monitor, we can decrease and prevent online harassment and cyberbullying. According to StopBullying.org, cyberbullying can happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and reach a kid even when he or she is alone. It can happen any time of day or night. Kids may feel safer if they're mean online and not face-to-face. Most kids have easy access to screens, and if they're mad, they can take out their anger with little to no consequences. Every day, many cases of cyberbullying occur. It puts people down, creates bad mindsets, and can cause self-harm and even suicide. Most parents are unaware until something very bad happens. Next, knowing schools are monitoring your social media, you'll feel pressured to make good or better decisions. According to Mrs. Reed, the Timberline counselor, if a student finds out the school might be able to see their posts, comments, and etc., they won't want to share mean or inappropriate opinions in case of consequences. Is hurting someone or putting others down really worth it? Even if the school isn't doing anything, bullies can be scared off. If we know that the school is monitoring, we may decrease online harassment. We all know the rule, do what you would do if your grandma was watching. This tries to promote good behavior, but when we go online, this is quickly thrown out the window. Although we know the right thing to do, we are teenagers and we constantly make mistakes. With the influence of the school, we will be more aware of our decisions and behavior choices. And lastly, you know that person on Instagram or Twitter you don't really know, you just let them follow you so you can have more followers? Are they who you think they are? Stalking and kidnapping can be connected to unsafe online activities. It's easy to create a fake profile, a fake picture, and a name. It's easy to pretend to be someone you're not when you're behind a screen. According to TheGuardian.com, cyberstalking is more common than physical harassment or in-person stalking. If the school can see your followers, comments, likes, and retweets, they may be able to catch or prevent this. These are good reasons why our school should be taking steps to keep us safe from catfish, stalkers, online bullies, and harassment.
Everyone deserves a private life after school because most of us act differently in and outside of school. And if schools can view our life at home, it would be like invading our privacy, which violates two of the amendments. The Fourth Amendment, which protects us from unlawful searches and seizures, and the First, which protects our freedom of speech. Secondly, most students like to make jokes on social media. And if schools could seize these jokes, they could take it seriously, which means a person could get punished for making a joke. Lastly, schools already have enough controlled students in school, and if they have controlled students outside of school, it'd be like that's too much control. Parents should be the only people who should be allowed to look at students' social media. Besides, if schools can view students' social media outside of school, then students should be able to view teachers' social media outside of school.
Rights. What are we without rights? Our First Amendment in the Bill of Rights protects our freedom of speech, which means we are allowed to express opinions lawfully without censorship or restraint. However, our First Amendment rights would be threatened if schools were allowed to monitor students' social medias. Because if schools were monitoring our social medias, we would be restrained to follow the school's internet policy inside and outside of school. And if we were restrained to follow the school's policy outside of school grounds, and we would be restrained to follow school policy outside of school grounds, we'd be punished and censored for what we say on social media in our homes if our posts, tweets, or private messages were not up to code. And that goes directly against our freedom of speech. And a story here supports my claims of what happens when schools are allowed power over our First Amendment rights. And the article, An Appropriate Tweet, prompt suspensions at Granite City High. One student tweeted one sexually inappropriate tweet outside of school grounds, which led to the suspension of 3 others for retweeting the post. This is a definite example of our First Amendment rights being thrown out the window and why schools would abuse the power of monitoring social medias. And this ties into another amendment we all share. Our Fourth Amendment in the Bill of Rights protects our privacy. And our privacy means we can make decisions in our private lives without interference of the government. And the schools are run by the government and they need to follow the same rules. And if we allow schools the ability to snoop through our private social medias and punish us, interfering with our social lives, and this most definitely abuses our rights. You might think social media monitoring would make life more peaceful and easy, but for students, life would be more stress-filled and uneasy. Students already have to deal with a lot of pressure to keep up with grades, finish homework, projects, and participate in other activities. If we allow social media monitoring, we will put more weight on students' chests by adding the fear of punishment and unease of being watched on social media. And when you say that interferes with our lives. And so, what are we without rights? We are many things: stressed, fearful, uneasy, angry, and frustrated. And so, we should not allow schools to monitor students' social medias.
Next, we will prove to you that monitoring student social media in and out of school is a violation, specifically a violation of the Fifth Amendment, the right to privacy. Many students have gotten in trouble for things they have said online, but students could be telling jokes, and schools are taking it so seriously. The Supreme Court has set a limit on student freedom of speech. There are 4 categories of speech that schools should take seriously: fighting words, illegal activities, swearing, and truth threats. The law is not clear. It does not say if student jokes, they should be punished. So schools should not search student social media. Schools are going too far when it comes to monitoring student social media or monitor internet activity. It is wrong for school to monitor student social media because everyone needs their privacy. The Fifth Amendment states that every person has the right to their privacy, and school must obey this because this is a law, not just an expectation. Research helps us to know that schools are punishing students because what they do or write on social media, the school is going to know. Research also helps us to know that some schools like Gainesville Valley High School in Pennsylvania install cameras in classroom, cafeteria, buses, hallway. It's not that harassment. Well, I think it is because every person needs their privacy. Every single step a person takes, the school is going to know. If schools are too harsh on students, they must fight back, which will be difficult to keep up with. If schools keep monitoring students' social media, it is a violation of student privacy. Research helps us to know that the First Amendment also protects citizen freedom of relation, and we believe in privacy. Everyone deserves to have the right to privacy, so school must obey. So school should not search students' social media in and out of school because it violates the Fifth Amendment. Don't schools already have control over students? Don't schools already have control over students? So say no to the violation of your right.
An overlooked side of social media monitoring is the cost. I'm sure everyone is aware of the budget cuts here in Waukee. The district will be eliminating an English period from this school, which means we will have to let go a few English teachers from the school. And we will also be letting go some of the extended learning program teachers, or the EOP teachers. And our schedules would change from 8 periods a day to 7 periods a day. Being told this, I can tell furthermore the possible cost for monitoring student social medias will be very high. In Huntsville City School District in Alabama, they originally paid $157,000, and it has risen up to $595,000 to operate SAFE, Students Against Fear, a monitoring program which they used to target 600 students. Let me say that again. They paid up to $595,000 only to monitor 600 students. In Waukee, according to the enrollment trends on WaukeeSchools.org, we have 5,100 students in grades 5 through 12, with a yearly increase of 671. Our yearly increase was bigger than the amount of students they ended up monitoring. And if we monitor all students 5 through 12, the cost would total up to be $1,334,500. And that doesn't include the additional years we would monitor students' social medias. And what do you think could possibly be a better venue to put all their money in to make the Waukee school districts a better place? That is why we should not allow schools to waste millions of dollars, which will lead to bigger budget cuts and the decreasing quality of our education that we will receive. When we could use the money to raise the quality of education, give students more opportunities in school, have more extracurricular funding, give more support to low-income students, and the list can go on and on forever. So ask yourself, whether you have all those benefits of saving our schools money, or have a system where schools take away your rights as a human being.
You have 2 minutes to prepare for your rebuttal.
Earlier, our opponents brought up the fact about cyberbullying, but why wouldn't they tell their parents or anyone that they trust? And what about blocking people? How many of you have some sort of social media? How would you feel if you knew that you were being constantly watched by someone when you posted something? How do you know that when teachers have to look through our phones that they aren't looking at everything? They tell you that they're looking for something, that they know where it is, but what if they don't know where the problem is, if there even is a problem?
Affirmative rebuttal, and remember you're both going. Sort of one and the other, however you want to do it.
My opponent says, what if you have things the school shouldn't see? But we disagree. If you are innocent, you should have no problem letting the school look at your social media. Because yes, we know you have the right to privacy, blah, blah, blah. But that is not the point. You as an individual should be able to let the school monitor your social media. If you are doing something you aren't supposed to be doing and you get caught, that's on you. It's not the school's fault if you get caught bullying, making drug trades, or planning a school shooting. According to Mrs. Reed, the school counselor, once they catch people doing things like this, they are most likely to stop. So, If you want cyberbullying, school shootings, and drug trade to stop, then schools should be able to monitor your social media. Therefore, even though you are allowed to keep things to yourself, if you truly are innocent, there should be no need to freak out over the school just checking something on your social media. My opponent also says that we have the right to privacy inside and outside of school, but we disagree. Although we do have the right to privacy, schools should still be able to check your social media. Because according to Mr. Fleming, the school principal, the school administrative office only checks things if the account is public. If the account is private, then they take it straight to the police. Schools are just trying to look out for people who are in danger. As a school district, it is their #1 priority to make sure that everyone is taken care of. Therefore, even though we do have the right to privacy, that doesn't mean that schools shouldn't be allowed to make sure everyone is safe and taken care of.
My opponent says that the school could take jokes seriously online, but we disagree because they're only going to take action if they think something's serious. For example, if you make a joke online that you're going to bomb the school, of course, they're going to take action. It's just the same as if your parents saw this or if the police saw it. So, or if you say that you're going to shoot the school. Those kind of jokes aren't funny, and those kind of jokes happen. So if the school monitors social media, and they see that this is happening, and they report this, but you complain and say, oh, it's just a joke, then don't make those kind of jokes. Therefore, that the school should be able to monitor social media to prevent things like school shootings and bombings, even if you say it's just a joke. My opponent also says that it would cost money to monitor your social media, but we disagree. Anybody with a phone could look at your social media. If you're a public account, then literally anybody in the world could see your account. So if the school's just looking out for your best interest, but you're gonna let some random stranger who could want to kidnap you follow you, then I don't see the problem there. So therefore, who cares about money if it's gonna keep you safe? And finally, my opponent also said that it should be something the parents do, or someone should tell their parents if something's going wrong. But we disagree, because when you're online, you feel trapped, and sometimes when you try and tell your parents things, somehow it can spiral back to somehow be your fault, and people can get scared to tell their parents. For example, I had a friend who got cyberbullied a lot, and she was too scared to tell her parents. But eventually she brought in screenshots of what had been happening and told the school, and they took action and they were able to solve the cyberbullying problem. Therefore, the parents should be looking at your social media, but if you're uncomfortable with that, or if you're too scared to tell them, and you have the school do it, then that can solve many problems if we're allowing the school to monitor your social media.
Want the negative closing, then the affirmative closing.
Schools should not be allowed to monitor students' use of social media in or outside of school because it violates students' free speech rights under the First Amendment as well as their Fourth Amendment, stating our right to privacy. Sarcasm and taking things seriously online is a problem in this day and age, and things are being taken too literally. Not everything that people say online or outside of the internet is true, and it should be paid more attention to instead of watching what kids do on the internet. Some may say it leads to cyberbullying, but only 17% of kids have admitted to being cyberbullied. Just by monitoring our behavior doesn't ensure the fact that all of the bullying will stop. How would you feel if you know that when you post something on Instagram or tweeted something on Twitter that you were being watched? It could be your parents, the government, or your teachers watching everything you do online. Just because we are thought of as immature, which most of us are, childish or naive, doesn't mean that we have to be constantly monitored when we do something online. Most of our schoolwork relates some way to technology. Our school projects, these debates, and even signing up for the next year's schedule. If you're being completely honest, you would admit that you are physically and maybe even emotionally attached to your phones. Our phones hold most of our private information, but when teachers and parents are going through them for safety reasons, nothing is really private anymore. Because of these reasons, schools should not have control of students' social life outside of school. It may be their job in school, but it's our parents' job outside of school. Monitoring students' social media is as ludicrous as students monitoring teachers' social media. Everyone has the right to privacy.
We've already stated how schools being able to monitor our social medias would be able to help cyberbullying, make us make better decisions, and could end stalking and catfishing, but it concerns our safety. Let's be real, we all want privacy, but do we really want privacy if it's gonna end up in lives ending? I know one of my friends was cyberbullied to the point where she found no point in living anymore. So I got a call at 3 a.m. telling me that my best friend was in the hospital on life support because she tried to end her life. And you know what? It could have been solved if somebody would have looked on her social media. And not all parents can, because according to childhelp.org, there are 3 million cases of abuse per year, and half of those are in the home. That's 1.5 million cases of abuse in the home alone. So maybe the parents can't check them because maybe the parents are the problem, and they can't check it because the students are reaching out to other people to try to help them, but they can't get that help in time. I think that students should be able to have a little bit of privacy, but if we're choosing between giving the teens privacy and saving their lives, then we should pick saving their lives.